Alright, so the title of the video is pretty simple. Alex Pereira just won again and is back as our light heavyweight champ. I mean, that's enough to make a grown man cry. That's enough to make a grown man cry. Let's go. I don't even know if this mic should be closer. Let me know. Look, a world with Proton as a champ is a great world for crying out loud. However, I've been really thinking about just how high up Alex Pereira is on the MMA all-time great list. Because if we're talking about the combat athletes all time, Pereira is high, man. Two division, UFC, and Glory kickboxing champ. The guy is impressive. However, in MMA, get this, he's only had 16 fights. 16, three of those are losses as well. Yet for some reason, this man is has one of the greatest resumes in MMA history already. Bro, let me read this out to you. No glazing, all fact. Middleweight champ, light heavyweight champ, twice, two-time light heavyweight champ. So, also double champion, double division champion. Um, with 3 title defenses, 6 title wins, wins over 6 past, current, or future champions, with 11 of his 13 wins by finish. I mean, that resume is a stacked and impressive one. Now, I'm assuming we all probably have our own top 10s of who the greatest fighters of all time are. Mine was this in no particular order. So let's see if Pereira can make it onto this list. So, alright, I might get some hate for this, but we'll see. Alright, so in no particular order, here's the top 5. GSP, Mighty Mouse, Jones, unfortunately. I mean, you have to put Jones, you don't have to put Jones in there because he's a PED cheat. Argue with the wall. Volk, of course, my goat has to be in there somewhere, and Islam Makhachev. Those are my top 5 in no particular order. So they're all like within that 5, but I don't really know who's like from 1 to 5. You get what I mean? Now here's the top 10, 6 to 10. In no particular order is DC, so Daniel Cormier, Habib Nurmagomedov, Anderson Silva, Ilia Topuria, and Aldo. That's my current list. In no order other than I think the first 5 are all top 5, and the second 5 are all 6 to 10. Now, I do think at this rate Pereira needs to be up there. Before the Ankalaev loss, I thought that he still needed some, he still needs some more time. It's difficult to assess a career as it's still moving, but I do think he was getting to a point where we could have considered him, you know, one of the GOATs coming up, at least. On that list, at least. But I think after the Ank loss, I just kind of assumed that he was never meant to be there. However, two-time champ later, I've now reconsidered, and I actually believe that yes, Pereira should be on the list. However, I want to talk about how high up he is. So let's compare his resume with others that I think are up there. Now, let me preface this by saying the GOAT list is not the best of all time list. So we're not talking about skill for skill. If we're talking about skill for skill, in terms of striking and kickboxing, Alex Pereira is like top 5 of all time in the UFC. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the greatest of all time list. In terms of just like, why am I blanking? In terms of resume and what they've accomplished. So, let's go through first. Okay. Is Alex Pereira higher up on the GOAT list than Aldo? Alright. So, both were champs. Both were 2 division champs. I'd say neither are the GOAT of their divisions. However, Aldo was a lot more closer to being the GOAT of his division before I think Volk took over. And he does have a lot more defenses than Poatan. 3 defenses for Pereira, 6 title wins. 8 title wins for Jose Aldo. 7 were defenses, or 6, I'm not too sure. But obviously a significant amount of defenses more for Aldo than Poatan. But realistically, 6 title wins compared to 8 title wins isn't a whole much. That's not a big of a. That's only quite a little bit of a difference, if I'm being honest. But I also think a lot of those weren't defenses for Pereira because he moved up divisions. He got 2 times champ. So yeah, we'll take that into consideration. However, I will say that that's not the only point to make, just because Aldo has more title wins. Because Pereira has beat 6 former or future champs. Aldo has beat 0. So I'd say that Pereira has clearly fought the better opponents. Aldo lost to 3 of the 4 other featherweight champs, whilst Pereira beat 4 of the Pereira beat 4 of the light heavyweight champs. So Poatan has been a 2-division champ, doing very well in both divisions, whilst Aldo never really made a strong name outside of featherweight, with a significant amount of losses, some of those by robbery in bantamweight, but it's still, it's still the case. However, I do think Aldo does have like triple the wins of Pereira, with only like 7 more losses than him. So I don't know. This one's it's pretty close. I think with time I can put Pereira above Aldo if he keeps moving forward. But right now I'm a little reluctant. So let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think Aldo or Pereira are higher up in the GOAT list? Okay, well how about Ilia Topuria? Both are double champs. Both have 0 title defenses in one of the divisions. However, Pereira has 3 defenses compared to Ilia's 1 overall. So I will say that's a strong start. However, once again, looking at the strength of the resume, I think Ilia definitely does have stronger names of opponents with wins over Volk, who I think is all-time top 5 all-time, Holloway, who's one of the best featherweights of all time, and Charles Oliveira, who is one of the best lightweights of all time as well. Outside of maybe Izzy, who I do think is top 3 or top 2 middleweights of all time, I wouldn't say Pereira has anyone on his resume that is that good. He definitely does have a lot more champs on his resume, but not anyone with the accolades that those 3 I have just named have. I think Ilia has kind of proven that he's one of the best featherweights of all time, with only really 2 wins. Whilst it's taken Pereira a lot more to be considered one of the best light heavyweights. And even then, he's not really like I'd say maximum is like top 3. I think people still consider Jones and DC to be above him in light heavyweight history. Maybe just don't. Maybe people see him above DC, I'm not too sure. But on top of that, they both have similar amounts of fights. You wouldn't expect this, considering that I'm presuming a lot more people think Ilia has been doing this for a lot longer. But Pereira's got 16 fights with Ilia, and Ilia has 17 fights. However, I can say that Ilia has 17 wins, whilst I can't say the same about Poatan's 16 fights. So whilst one is a double champ whilst undefeated, the other is, he's had 3 losses. And the 2 times champ thing doesn't really mean a whole lot, because by saying you're a 2 times champ, you're basically saying that you lost the belt and won it again. And unless you're like Jones or someone else who's like leaving the division and then coming back, yeah, which Pereira isn't. He lost the belt by losing to a contender, and then he just won it back against that contender. So whilst that is a bit of a stat, it's also a bit of a diss on his legacy, if that makes sense. So I don't know. Ilia is not nearly as active as Pereira, but at the same time, he is pound for pound number 1. So if I'm being honest, I think that Ilia is probably greater all time than Poatan, Alex Pereira. Now, I do think it's a bit closer with Aldo. And look, if I'm being honest, dude, I think Pereira is pretty similar level all time round to both of them. I think he's nearing that top 10, but I just don't know if he's there yet. So you guys let me know in the comments if you have Pereira in your top 10. I might, look, as I said before, I have DC, Khabib, Anderson Silva, Ilia, and Aldo. That's my list. I think that he's higher up all time than Silva, and I don't think he's higher up in all time than Silva and DC. I think he's close with Ilia and Aldo. I'm not sure about Khabib. Khabib is a bit of a wild card. I think that all time Ilia could definitely be above Khabib just because of his legacy so far. So Pereira could be above Khabib, but I'm not too sure. That would definitely be a controversial choice, and one I'm not willing to make on this channel. But I think if he was, he'd be top 10. But I do think 9 other guys are stronger names. So look, I can see him being top 10, but at the very least, could he be top 15? Can I name 5 other guys that have a better resume than him? Let's see. All right, I've got the Tapology GOAT list up. We have okay, Usman, Osman, Kamaru Usman, the man to run out of a team. I think Pereira is all-time higher than Usman. Let me explain why. I don't think extremely high of Usman like others do. Now, this may be controversial, but just look at his defenses. Colby is 17-5. That's okay. Masvidal, 35 wins but 17 losses. Gilbert Burns, 22 wins but 9 losses. Look, I'd be lying if I said that the dudes he beat were the best caliber talent compared to what the welterweight division is now. The welterweight division now is stacked. But I'll say during Usman's title run, he wasn't beating very impressive names. I think outside of Burns, who I do think as being great, even though Burns is cooked, even though Burns is considered a bit of a gatekeeper now, outside of Burns, there isn't really anyone in his title reign that I'm saying is like top 10, top 5 welterweights of all time. Actually, that's a bit of a lie. Woodley is up there, but with Pereira, 3 defenses to Kamaru's 5, I see those 3 as being better than Kamaru's 5. I'm sorry. Plus, Pereira is double champ, so I'm saying Pereira is greater all time than Usman. Sorry, not sorry. Okay. How about once again, you guys let me know if you guys think that Usman's better than Pereira all time, but I think Pereira's better. How about Israel Adesanya? Now, this one's an interesting one because I've been pretty 50-50 on both of them. Obviously, they have a history. We don't need to get into all that, but we know we know what's up. Him and Senor Poatan. Look, Izzy has 5 defenses, 8 title wins. So a little ahead, but honestly not by that much. His best wins are over Whitaker and Poatan himself. 2 champs. But I think, honestly, Poatan may have the better names on his resume. I think Yuri, however you say it. I got a lot of flack for calling him Yuri. It's Yuri, my bad. However, Yuri, Magomed, and Roundtree I think are better names than Vettori, Cannonier, and Costa. Even though Izzy has done more, a lot of his wins were also by decision. And I think overall, Pereira has the better names, plus the better ways of beating his opponents by finish. So, on top of resume, he's not just a 2 times champ like Izzy, but he's also a double champ. So you know what? I'm going to say he's greater than Izzy all time. So, I've got Pereira above Usman and Izzy. Let me think about some other names. So let's rapid fire some. Alright, let me think. Stipe. No, Alex is 100% better. Cejudo. Or not better, sorry, greater. Cejudo. Alex is greater. Nunes. We're bringing in the women now. But no, I still think Alex is greater. Look. But no. How about Marab? Marab honestly is up there. Because I do think he's the greatest bantamweight of all time. Pantoja too is up there, honestly, if we're being real. But I will say he's greater than both at the moment. I think Marab is close though. So yeah, I believe Alex is definitely top 15, but top 10, I wouldn't go higher than like 8th all time. But you guys let me know if you think differently. I want to know where you guys would rank Pereira all time. Yeah, you guys in the comments will have to let me know where you guys stand on this because I'm pretty curious. Sometimes I see Pereira top 5 in people's GOAT lists. Sometimes I don't even see him making top 20. Sometimes I see him top 15, top 10, top like 6, 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, my bad. But you guys let me know. What I'm saying currently right now, yeah, top 15 at least, maybe top 10, but maximum I put him is at like maybe 8 maximum. And even then I put him maybe like 9 because I think Ilya is definitely better than him. Habib and Aldo might be better than him. But look, yeah, let me know once more. You guys know I make all these videos all the time. Do me a favor, subscribe. It's free, obviously. Like the video. It helps the algorithm out. I'm trying to get up there. I'm trying to be the next guru. I'm trying to be the next bedtime. I'm trying to be the next Lucas Tracy. And that's going to take some time, but it'll help out. It will take less time if you guys help out. So I appreciate it. I bring you guys the news all the time. I bring you guys the interesting topics. I want to know what you guys have to say in the comment section. Let me know. We're a bit of a community here, so let me know. Yeah, I just said let me know twice. Whatever. Like, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed the video. Peace out.